All right, I'm going to be doing a breakdown of one of my past matches. This is a match against Iwasaki. It was the finals of Asian Open in 2017. I'm doing this just so you can kind of see where my mind is at when I'm competing, how I'm thinking, and I think the big takeaway from this match is just the importance of mixing your lapel attacks with all of your other attacks. As you start to play with a lot of the lapel controls, such as worm guard and lapel lasso, all these different positions, it's easy to get this tunnel vision where you get caught in this wormhole where you get a hold of the lapel and you don't want to transition at all. And in this match, it's a prime example of how you can go for the lapels, and if they're not giving you the attacks you need, how you can fluidly transition to other guards. So let's just begin. So from the beginning, we both are going to pull together. So we both kind of pull. I always try to go double guard and come up because I feel good with my passing. I like to take the advantage if I can. So no score has been given right now. It's still considered double guard technically from here. I feel I pulled a little late, but this is how they scored it. I get the lapel, but he bridges on top right away. Iwasaki has a really amazing half guard bridge. It's definitely one of his best sweeps. He hits it a lot. And I remember when I experienced it, it was so effortless. It was very good. Now you can't see it, but from this closed guard position, I'm already loosening the lapels out. This is something I do a lot. Whenever I get to the closed guard position, I want to make sure the lapels are loose. Even if I don't plan on going for any worm or lapel attacks at that moment in the match, it's a good insurance policy for later. If the guard opens up or I need to start opening up my game, the lapels are going to be accessible later. So whenever I get the closed guard, that's one of the first things I'll always do is get his lapels nice and loose. So from here, I'm working for the lapels. Always, I'm putting my feet on his hips, just trying to create some space. Now, I want to get to the lapels and start attacking with lapels, but he's staying on his knees, and he's playing very defensively. He's up 2 points, so he knows that there's no urgency for him to necessarily attack. Now, as you can see, I go for a really nice lapel setup from here. So let's just back up a little bit. So from this position, as you can see, I have the lasso. So I have basic lasso control, but I also have the lapel nice and loose. So from when I open it in close guard. So from this position, look how I take one hand, I go in the lapel right here, and I switch to the lapel right away, and I immediately invert. From the lapel lasso, you can invert and go right away to reverse Stella Worm, which is what I'm attempting to do. But as you can see, he keeps his knees really far away. You can see he's even going to start to sprawl his legs out. And when he keeps his legs this far away, it's really hard to get to any offensive worm attacks from here. Now, obviously, I can have good retention. It's hard for him to pass. But in order to get anything really going, I have to intertwine the lapel through the legs. And he's doing a great job of hiding his legs from here, so I can't really get under the legs. Now from here I'm also attacking, I'm comboing Omoplatas with the lasso. I'm trying to go for both simultaneously, and I'm also constantly reaching, trying to get to his legs. Now I watched all of Iwasaki's matches leading up to this finals match, that he would kind of give up the triangle because he was really good at stack passing through it. So I made a point anytime there was a triangle situation, I would not keep the triangle. I immediately switched to the Omoplata because when you're doing an Omoplata, you're on the side of your opponent. It's much tougher for him to smash through you because you're kind of on the side of him. He can't generate that same force to the side as he could straight on. So from here, I'm setting up the overhook triangle Omoplata combo. This is one of my favorite close guard attacks. But he does a really good job of just staying square with me. Just rips his arm out. From here I back up, trying to get back to the lapel, but once again, he's just really good at staying on his knees. So from here, I don't force the lapel anymore. It's kind of just understandable at this point. He's not going to really give me the lapels right now, so I'm just switching. And I switch to the triangle, but look, I grab his arm, and I'm switching to the Omoplata instead. Now from this position, you notice my left hand that's inside, it's grabbing his lapel so he can't posture up because he's trying to posture out of the position. So with my left hand, I'm controlling the lapel. And look at my top leg right here. I'm going to use it as an anchor, and I'm going to be smashing down with it. So from here, I constantly use this leg and I kick up and down, and it's going to compromise his base. So I'm either going to anchor my leg down or I'm going to hook under his leg here. Those are the two things I like to do with my free leg when I'm omoplating. So I even hook the leg with it and I start to rotate for a sweep attempt. Now from here I'm still attacking the omoplata, but sadly we go out of bounds. I'm trying to reach over the top, which is one of my favorite things. I take this hand and I reach over the top. It's a really good resting position. Now they're going to reset us because we go out of bounds. Now from here, this is a really crucial moment in the match. This is very subtle. A lot of people that aren't competitors, they don't realize the nuance of this kind of strategy within a match. But if you look at the score right now, it is 2-2. He has 2 points for the sweep. I got 2 points for the submission out of bounds, but I also got that advantage early. So it's very crucial that I try to get to the guard. If I can pull guard on him, I'm going to be up an advantage and I'm playing guard. So the burden of offense is going to be on my opponent to have to pass the guard. Otherwise, he can lose the match. So immediately I try to get to guard. I don't want to get into a double guard situation. I don't want him to steal the 2, so I make a point. I need to get to the guard off of this reset. So from here, and notice, I want you to notice how I guard pull too from here. This is important as well. I do not want to risk him getting the 2 points on me. So I don't pull. When I get a hold of his lapel, I'm not going to bring my legs forward, because by doing that, he can grab my legs and steal the 2, or he could just kind of grab and go for a pass right away. I feel I'm out of position if I lead with my legs. The only time I'm going to really lead with my legs when I'm pulling guards is if I'm trying to go for a Yoko Tomonagi or some type of sacrifice throw. So instead of going in, look how I'm going to fall straight down instead. I don't pull into my opponent as much as I fall straight down to the ground. So I'm going to fall to one butt cheek when I secure a lapel grip. So from position, I defend and I sit right away. So now we're in a position now, if you can focus the score. I did get a penalty. It's off camera, but I was talking to the ref, which is a big no-no. But even with that said, I am up 1 advantage. So our score is tied 2-2, but I have the 1 advantage, and I'm playing guard. So from here, now the burden of offense is on my opponent. Earlier in the match, he was up 2, and you can see he's attacking, but he's not too offensive. Now he has to pick up the intensity because now he's down. So immediately, once again, I go right to the lapels from the close guard, and I'm ready to start attacking with the lapels again. Even though I may not be able to offensively go for a lot of submissions if he's on his knees, it's really good retention to get that lapel control. So I'm switching back and forth between the lasso and the lapel. I'm looking at the score. I remember at this point in the match I was very confident because I knew I was up the advantage, and I can kind of now just lay back, and he's going to make a mistake. So I'm working my lasso position. And as you see, he's pretty relaxed from these positions. He's really not worried about the triangle. He has really good triangle defense. I've seen him put in many triangles, and he can just pressure out of them really well. And you can see he's, as you can see, if you compare his pace right now versus in the beginning of the match, he's coming with a little bit more intensity now. He's really trying to pressure in a little bit more. He knows he has to try to score something, so now he's driving in, applying a lot of weight, trying to stack me. So he circles underneath, and from this position, this is one of my favorite Omoplata setups. You can get a triangle or an Omoplata from here. I don't want to go for the triangle on him because he's got really good stacking ability from here. I'm going to immediately switch from this hand in the lapel or to the sleeve, and I'm going to go right along his elbow. I'm going to grab his elbow, and I'm going to pull through for a triangle Omoplata position. So I get lapel control, and look how I switch my hand immediately to the elbow, and I pull through. Now I don't want to stay in the triangle because he has a good stack. I immediately switch to my Omoplata control. Now from here, I'm keeping my shin kind of along my opponent's face from here, so he can't pressure in, and I'm constantly anchoring my leg up and down so he can't posture up. and I scoot out. Okay, from this position, this is one of my favorite positions for the Omoplata. If I can get here, it's super safe. My objective most of the time when I get to an Omoplata position is I want this grip right here in the lapel. If I can reach over the back and get to a seated position, it's a really good opportunity to kind of recompose myself, especially when I'm not down on points. So just notice my mannerisms here. Once I get to the position, I recompose myself. I take a lot of deep breaths. I know that I can kind of rest now. I don't want to rest if my back is on the mat because there's too much that can be done. But when I'm sitting up like this, I breathe, take a couple breaths, think about life. And once I'm ready, I can start attacking again. And notice I come up on my toes and I kick off of the mat. So I kick into the crucifix position and I go for the finish. Now let's review the finish a little bit because there's a lot of working parts. So once again, we're in the Omoplata position. And notice my other grip. So I have one hand in the lapel down across his body and the other one in the neck. So these are really important grips to have when I'm trying to jump into the crucifix. So from this position, I can't just jump over the top. I need to be in good position. So look what I do. Once I breathe a little bit and rest, I take my back foot and look how I'm going to scoot it behind me. I tuck my heel under my butt and look, I have a couple working parts from here. With my both hand grips, I do a few different things. With my toes on the mat, I'm nice and spring-loaded. I can kick off of the mat. So what I'm trying to do is kick off of the mat, just like so. So my back hits the mat and we land into a crucifix position. So I tuck my heel under my butt. I kick off of the ground with all of my grips. And I try to land right into the crucifix position. So from here, I kick off of the mat. And we land in the crucifix. Now from this position, my personal favorite finish is I just scoot back and you can get the shoulder lock from this seated position. But from here, he can feel the pressure. It's very, very tight. So he tries to alleviate the pressure by coming to his knees. But as he tries to come to his knees, you can just follow with him. You follow his momentum and you just come up and use the traditional Omoplata finish. So this is one of my favorite attacks from the Omoplata position. Now, as you can see early in the match, I really wanted to go for the lapel attacks. But like I said, when the guy is hiding on both knees, it's really hard to not just do necessarily lapel attacks, but a lot of modern jiu-jitsu goes out the window when your opponent is hiding on both knees. So I immediately take that as an opportunity to attack his upper body. That's why it's really important. If you like to play worm, you like to play lapel lasso, you like to play all these different lapel attacks, it's very important that you have an upper body guard that you can play. Some good examples like the one I was playing in this match is lasso. I play a lot of lasso. Lasso works really well. You can also play double sleeve control like spider guard. You could play 2-on-1 laser guard. That's what Keenan plays whenever people are hiding their knees. But you need to have something that complements your lapel attacks. You need something that you can attack the upper body with. And your objective is you need to find a way to cohesively mold both of those together so that when he's hiding on his knees, we switch to the upper body. When he starts to bring his knees back up, we can smoothly transition back to the lapels. Us.